All right, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Maryland's Cafe Society here at 1340 WJOL, WJOL.com, and Maryland's Cafe Society.com. All right, joining me live on the line is my first guest, and her name is Christine Nielsen. She's with the Illinois Attorney General's Office, the Consumer Fraud Division, and of course, she's here to impart some knowledge. Hey, Christine.
Hi, good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm doing well today, thanks.
Very good. So happy you could take some time out of your day to share with us important information, Christine. First of all, tell us what you do out of Attorney General Lisa Madigan's office.
Well, one of my roles at the Attorney General's office is to supervise our loan modification unit. So a couple of years ago, we decided to separate out a few housing counselors and consumer advocates to deal exclusively with the problem with mortgage servicing issues and foreclosure questions and that sort of thing for Illinois homeowners.
Okay. Now, listen, I know that there's recently been, and actually not recent, but out of Attorney General Madigan's office, there's been a top 10 consumer complaint list that was released, I guess, for 2010. And consumer debt was number one, which includes mortgage lending, collections, credit cards, and things of that nature. And so, yeah, I guess this is a big deal. And I don't know if you have the numbers, Christine, but or the statistics on this, but it appears to be happening in waves. I remember when this first wave of folks facing foreclosures and looking for some help, which is what sort of started what your office is doing, was because of those loans that were made. Were they illegal loans or predatory loans, or what were they?
Some of them were predatory loans.
Yeah,
predatory.
Borrowers
were encouraged and sometimes pushed into loans that they could not afford, using information that wasn't accurate.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the loans, even though they weren't predatory, were just not affordable loans for particular borrowers. And so, yes, we are seeing waves of delinquencies when, for example, if there are adjustable rate mortgages that some borrowers got in, that at the moment that they adjust, which is usually 2 years, maybe sometimes 5 years after the loan is originated, at that point we're starting to see some issues and some delinquency because the borrower cannot afford the new adjusted payment.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we were hit with the recession, and folks started losing their jobs and ending up having to accept jobs with lower pay. And so that was another group of people who were impacted by all of this.
Yeah, we're seeing many unemployed and underemployed borrowers coming to our office for assistance.
Mm-hmm. And so, hence, you are here today to kind of share with us because, as I stated to you earlier in the week, Christine, people know that I work on the radio and I have this background in media and journalism and all of that. And so, sometimes they share with me and what they've been saying is when it comes to this loan modification process, they've heard about HAMP. And there's confusion because some of them are senior citizens and others just have never had to deal with this before. And so that's why Lisa Madigan decided to set this unit up, which you work out of, to kind of help people walk through that process. So if someone was interested in going to their lender for a loan modification, what role will you help play to help them in this?
Well, the process can be very frustrating because it requires the borrower to put together a packet of information that's very comprehensive. And the documents themselves sometimes go stale after 60 days or 90 days or a certain period of time. So it's really requiring the borrower to pull a lot of information together into a complete packet and send it to the lender for assistance and to be offered a modification. our office can assist those borrowers in pulling together that information. And then we act as a sort of go-between between the borrower and the bank to continue to contact the bank and continue to request status updates and that sort of thing as the process moves forward. So the borrower and the Attorney General's office will work together to put together a complete package to send to the bank. And then from that point on, the bank will communicate both with the borrower and the Attorney General's office about additional documents or updated documents that are needed, and then ultimately their final decision about a modification or another sort of loss mitigation option.
Okay. And so there would be, once your office is involved, there would be no need for an Illinois consumer, to go and hire an attorney or some of these agencies who may even, in fact, be criminally motivated to gain off of people in these situations.
Well, certainly one of the things that we do want to continue to remind borrowers in Illinois is to not pay any sort of upfront cost to any sort of organization that offers to help to provide rescue assistance or modification assistance or that sort of thing. Upfront fees for those services in Illinois are not legal, and we just want to continue to remind people, do not pay upfront fees. There is a lot of free assistance out there, namely with the Attorney General's office and also with some other organizations, but there is free help out there. There may be a point in time where the borrower may feel comfortable or may want to hire an attorney. The Attorney General's office cannot provide legal advice to individual consumers or individual borrowers. And some borrowers feel more comfortable, especially after they have received foreclosure notices. So if the bank has proceeded with foreclosure, even while the consumer is being considered for a modification, one of the things we try to remind people at that point is it's very important to not ignore those papers, those legal documents that you've been receiving for the foreclosure. And, you do have to respond to those documents. Even though you're in the process for a modification, you sort of have to go down both tracks, both roads at the same time. And so at that point, some borrowers feel more comfortable talking with an attorney who can help them answer the foreclosure complaint that has been filed against them, and deal with those sorts of things, because our office cannot represent individuals in those actions.
Yes. And one other thing that folks wanted to know, too, is although Lisa Madigan is representing the individuals in the state of Illinois, if their lender is situated outside of the state, is that still within her? What am I trying to say? Is it still within her jurisdiction to your office to handle that?
Yes. If a borrower lives in Illinois and the home is, especially one of the requirements under many of the modification programs, the federal program, and then some of the private proprietary programs, is that the home be owner occupied. So if the borrower lives in Illinois, the home is in Illinois, but the lender is outside of Illinois, that is still a lender, that we can work with, and we can assist that borrower.
All right. And so there's a helpline that individuals can call to.
And we do have our team available to answer the phone during regular business hours during the week, and homeowners can contact that helpline and request a modification application packet, and they can also just ask other kinds of questions, because in addition to helping people with modifications, we also attempt to mediate servicing kinds of complaints. So even if a borrower is not delinquent and does not necessarily need a modification at this time, they may be looking at some servicing errors or problems that they need us need help addressing. So,
right. And while you were giving out the number, your line was breaking up, so I'm going to repeat it and let me know if it's wrong. It's 866-544-7151.
yes, that's correct.
Okay, 866-544-7151. And not only will they receive some kind of assistance or counseling through the modification process, but you also will handle other things in terms of how their loans are serviced and things of that nature. Now, has there ever been any cases of fraud with these foreclosures and loan modifications, Christine?
Well, we do see some errors with respect to the compliance with the HAMP program and with the modification program.
Mm-hmm.
We generally try to work through any issues that we see with the bank. I'm not aware of any larger investigations that our office has. Certainly one of the things that we do is look at these rescue companies that are charging illegal fees for their services.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that we continue to investigate. And there are also new companies out there that provide forensic audits, and they claim to be able to provide the borrower with an assessment of the likelihood of being offered a modification and then continued modification assistance. And what we're finding is that with some of these companies, they're charging an upfront fee, and the borrower is not getting any assistance beyond the initial application completion.
Yeah. One person was saying that one company contacted him, and he was to make monthly payments to them for their service. And he was saying, well, shouldn't that money be going towards, some kind of pot for saving my house as opposed to paying them? And
Right.
why would it be drawn out over a 6-month period,
Right.
where he would be making these installments to them? By the way, what is the length of time? What's the timeline for a loan modification? Is there?
Well, unfortunately, it can take quite a long time, and we understand that it's very frustrating for borrowers. Like I said, there's the initial step of pulling together all of the required documents and signing all of the required forms. Once that goes to the bank, once the bank has a completed application and they have all of the documents that they need and everything is signed and dated, they have a set amount of time under the federal HAMP program to make a determination about whether or not the person is eligible for a modification under HAMP. And right now, the exact amount of time escapes me. I think it might be 90 days that they're required to make a decision. It may even be a shorter period of time. It may be closer to 30. But getting to that point where the bank has a quote-unquote complete package takes significant periods of time, unfortunately.
Yes.
There's a lot of review of these documents that needs to happen, and a lot of people touch the file, people in our office, people at the bank, and so because of that, it does delay things. But those decisions are supposed to be made relatively quickly after the complete package is provided.
Yes. All right. Well, listen, I think that you put a lot of information out there, Christine. I thank you for sharing. Once again, the homeowner helpline at the Attorney General's office is 866-544-7151. Anything else you can think of before we wrap up?
No, I think we covered everything.
Okay, wonderful. Well, we put that out there. I appreciate you sharing the time. And I guess that's it, Christine. Appreciate you.
Well, yeah, and thank you for having me.